I'm now doing an MA, and like basically I've been here for, this is my 4th year. I like this area. I'd like to settle down here, much to my mum's kind of dismay. But
where are you from?
I'm from Doncaster. So I'd love to settle down here. If I did choose to settle down here, what kind of policies are in place to help new graduates to settle down, to kind of, I don't know, make roots in a positive way rather than being kind of scuppered by all this debt that's kind of a cloud over them. So.
Well, I think, coming back to what I said at the beginning, I think crucial to this area is job creation. We have a real problem in Crewe and Nantwich. Traditionally, people in Crewe and Nantwich didn't have to leave the area in order to get work. And in actual fact, a lot of people from surrounding towns came into, particularly Crewe, to get work, and that's changed. And I've noticed when I've been knocking on the doors, and actually been quite taken aback by, I keep asking people, where do you work? And they say, such and such as Stoke or such and such at Manchester. And actually people are travelling quite some distances from here to go to it. And that's because we've lost probably somewhere in the region of about 15,000 manufacturing jobs in this town, largely engineering. And while there was some considerable efforts to replace those during the 80s and 90s and the early part of this millennium, that's kind of come to a full stop, and that's why we need to get this land at Basford opened up and have those 7,000 or 8,000 jobs on there if we get the right employer. But it's got to be the right sort of jobs as well, and Crewe could be at the forefront of certainly the green economy in Britain, particularly with its rail links and looking at the kind of the travel side of it as well, and there should be lots of job opportunities for graduates. So I think that's the key thing for you, because frankly you're not going to settle here unless you're going to have a job around here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's simple as that. But welcome to Crewe. It's much better than Doncaster. I've never been to Doncaster.
I mean, job creation is a difficult one, isn't it? Again, it's a philosophical thing as to how much the government should and can do to create jobs. The government can create the right environment in which jobs occur, and that is providing sometimes land, sometimes transport links, creating the infrastructure that will enable firms to grow. A lot of the growth in this area will be of small businesses. I don't think we're going to go back to sort of major employers relocating here. But talking to the Federation of Small Businesses a couple of weeks ago, there's an awful lot of businesses there that are very lively, very progressive and employing more people that you don't necessarily think about when you want to get a job. So I think that the opportunities are there, they're just hard to find. But all the government can do at the end of the day is create the right situation, that's partly through taxation and infrastructure, to set employers free to create the jobs that we need.
Yeah.
What sort of job are you looking for? What area of?
Primarily teaching, but anything really that involves community and performing arts together.
Right. And I think, it's a secondary or primary? Or
Either,
college?
but mainly secondary.
Secondary, right. Okay. Well, I think we've probably got a very good record on that, and certainly, there's been considerable improvements in the schools in this area. We've got a brand new school that William Stanley built there, and frankly, that was 2 schools that were merged together, but 2 schools that had pretty poor reputations and weren't doing particularly well. They've had a very inspirational head teacher there. Now they've got a fantastic state-of-the-art new building, and the reputation of the school's gone through the roof. And I visited a local primary school the other day. I had 12 children in year 6 sat in front of me and asked them where they were all going. One was going to Sandbach, and the other 11 were going to William Stanley. Now, 2-3 years ago, it would have been less than half those children going to William Stanley, just because of the reputation. So, I think those kind of opportunities are there to be grabbed, and I hope we can, find something in there down here. We've got a brand new 6th form being built at Brian Lee's in Nantwich, which is because Nantwich has tended to go down the 6th form route rather than South Cheshire College. And unfortunately, when David Cameron visited there the other day with Gary Barlow, he failed to acknowledge Labour's investment in the school, even though it was significant. So there should be some job opportunities there as well.
Specifically towards the job market, we've both talked about students graduating, staying in the area, building the economy and so forth, but as you heard from Andy, while you're in university, debt and creating some sort of income is detrimental to the studies and actually being able to stay at university. And I've seen so many students in my position actually not be able to even find a part-time job, because as you say, down many areas of Crewe, a lot of small businesses are closing where students would get those small part-time jobs that were flexible around their work and their studies. So what do you feel is a priority in that area to support the actual sustainability of coming to university?
Well, I work for USCO, which is a shop workers trade union, and obviously a lot of students look towards supermarkets as a source of employment, and I think a lot of them do give that kind of flexibility and the kind of hours that you'd want. So I'm delighted to tell you that Sainsbury's are building a huge store in the middle of Crewe. Tesco are going to knock down their existing one and build one as big as Sainsbury's directly across the road. So, we're going to see an expansion in retail jobs, certainly within the town. Plus as well, one of the things I'm campaigning very hard for is regeneration of Crewe Town Centre itself. We had a plan in place for that to happen through a combination of reasons, including a referendum on a mayor to decide whether the war memorial should be moved or not. Scuppered, it's a long story, I don't know to but scuppered the plan, and basically now it's all been mothballed. But there would have been an opportunity there for a Debenhams and a lot of new small shops that would have been in a brand new shopping centre in the middle of Crewe. Would have been a great, would have made Crewe a shopping destination again, which I think is lacking behind it. So I but very much want to see those kind of opportunities. Also, what I'm doing is within the trade union role is campaigning for the national minimum wage adult rate to be applied at 18 initially, but to bring it down to 16 eventually. One of the things that we want to do is make work pay for students. And when we first started on this campaign, the government kept telling us, and this is the Labour government by the way, but kept telling us that if you paid young people more, they'd be less likely to study, because they would be more attracted to go into employment. And we said, no, that's not true. And then we did some extensive surveying of young people, and what we found was that actually young people are more likely to study if they get paid more, because they can see a way of balancing the hours between studying and work, because they have to work less hours in order to get the money that they need. So, and after we did that, they stopped using that argument and they moved on to what they say now is that if you make young people differentially more expensive, then it's less attractive to employ them. And we're working hard to counter that argument. We have had a reduction in the adult rate from 22 to 21, a minor success, but we're still pushing for that to come down to 18 initially.
Yeah, we'd also support the minimum wage. It's part of our proposals that should come down certainly to 18. It's quite ridiculous that somebody could be doing the same job as somebody else and getting paid less. There's no logic to it. Obviously, because if we can phase out tuition fees, then the pressures won't be the same on students. I'm not, of course, sure that supermarkets in the end create jobs, because they destroy jobs as well, and whether on balance you actually have more people working, and also whether we want the domination of the supermarket over a town, and whether we should continue to allow them to build and expand in the way they're doing, sometimes against the wishes of local people, if that's what people want.